Hello, everyone. Say anything to anybody?
Hello.
I don't want to waste my time. I want to identify these things so that we can set up actionable steps on how to make money.
I agree.
Okay. Not to say, wow, we were right, Dave. We were right again. Well, did you make money? No, I was too much of a chicken shit. I didn't go in.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
bullshit, man.
Today's date, whatever. I'll make one of these every single week because I do think it's important. We can learn from it. So I broke it into essentially four sections. Okay. So it's a strategy planning meeting for the upcoming week to make
Mhm.
money. To your
Yep.
point, I highlight you because you're right. I just took a note here just to keep on our frontal
Yeah,
lobe.
actionable, well, however you want to phrase it. Basically, it's creating a roadmap, a plan.
I it, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll add that in a minute. In a nutshell, we know this: inflation is here to stay. It's between 10 and 20%. It's never going to be 2% again. That's it. We get it.
Well, actually, that was one of the top things on my list.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
is uh, I don't know. I think we might be going into a huge deflationary event where everything is about to shit the bed.
If we look at the planning outline every week, planning methodology, I want to look at four things from the top down, starting at the macro level. I want to look at the markets, okay, and I have the examples we could look at, the Dow, the S&P, the Nasdaq, the Russell, gold, silver, crypto, whatever else you can think of. The second thing I want to look at,
Yeah, energy
yeah,
is
exactly. So I know, amigo, I didn't think of everything,
yeah.
but I'm just trying to get the outline. This is gonna be a living document. We're gonna continue to add, modify, perfect it over time. I agree it's not perfect and all inclusive, but this is the general roadmap I think we should utilize at least initially. So we look at markets, right? We start at the macro level, then we look at the regions of the world. When I was at AT&T, there were 4 or 5 major regions like North America that you see here, EMEA, which is Europe, Asia Pac, Latin America, and there was one more I can't think of, but we could get into that later. So we look at regions.
What?
Thirdly,
Yeah. Well, I would personally, I would probably add like bricks as a category because that's going to be
okay, yeah, yeah, great point.
because that's who
Excellent
probably
point.
we should be investing in is the bricks.
Ex, great idea, bro.
And
Spot on.
maybe when you go to Brazil, you
Yep,
should be setting up an account down there in Brazil
100%,
so that it can't be taken by our friends who are listening.
100%. Spot on, bro. You're 1,000,000% right. So again, markets, regions of the world, and as we drill down, we look at industries. Now, there's 11 major industries that I'm aware of via the Dow. It's either 11 or 13. We can
Yeah,
list
well,
them.
they have like XLE, XLY, XLP, for
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
different categories.
But in general,
So
and I'll
we can basically use those as a guide for there's XLB for the banks, XLE for the energy,
okay, okay,
XLE for XLY for discretionary consumer discretion. There's all those things.
okay. Yeah, we can fill that in. I know there's 11 or 13 major categories. We need to know them by rote, by heart, right? Because we're going to be deciding when to move into ones and versus moving out, etc. So we continue to drill down. And then finally, again, starting from high level macro, we look at specific companies at that point, right? What company should we be considering in this time frame in terms of, to use your word, rotating money? Where's the money rotating into and where's it coming out of, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because there are leaders and then
Yeah.
there are laggers.
Hmm.
And just in this mining thing,
Yeah.
it was very easy to identify
Yep.
which companies were leading the charge.
Those are the four levels of scope categories starting from the top. Again, markets, regions, industries, companies. To me, that makes sense in that approach, at least initially. And then, I got a note here. Tesla, something I heard. You brought it up a day or two ago, and I heard it somewhere else too, and I don't disagree. Maybe the Tesla should be going in the company section specifically, right? Right. So, that's a company that we need to talk about because, to your point, if money's rotating out of there because of as you see here on my notes, to face stern competition now and in the future, now needs to lower prices they now need to lower prices to basically fend off their competitors and keep their market share. Well, long term,
But do they really? Do they
I don't
really?
know. Well, if they have all these stiff competitors coming at them from every car company, from other EVs to traditional car companies, they're all getting into the mix now, are they not? Maybe they're not. I'm just citing it as an example. Tesla's a company.
All I'm saying is, Tesla doesn't spend any money on marketing. Do you know that? Zero
Wow.
on their marketing budget.
I knew it
Never.
was small. I didn't know it was zero. I would
It's
not
zero. Elon Musk refuses to do it. He believes that the customers and his soy boy army is enough. And
Well,
he's been right, but
he's
here's
been
the
right
mistake.
so far.
Here's the mistake.
Yeah.
Where is the money they've been making going? It hasn't been back into R&D.
Well, so I guess I would argue that, and I'm guessing
It's been building giga plants.
he's been funneling it into other stuff. Exactly. He's been funneling that cash flow into other projects, SpaceX, his factories, whatever, other concerns, right? So anyway, but that's the view. And then, like, you made a note, for example, I pulled it out of WhatsApp. We should have also discussed identified entry points for BTC, MSTR. This is just an example. I agree with you.
Well, this is the reason for doing these meetings, because now,
Right.
we will discuss that, because we missed, and Bitcoin right now, I was looking at it last night or the night before, whenever we talked about it, and it's at a pivotal point right now, and it's come back. Bitcoin has gone straight up 2 times in a row.
Right.
The first time it went up like 10 grand, and then it consolidated, and then it shot up to like 32. And then the problem with shooting straight up is sometimes you come back down, and now it's come back down to the first breakout. So now it's going to make a decision, or is it going to retrace all or a portion of what it just made, or is it just going to consolidate further and then go back up?
Well, we need to look at it. I can't answer that unless I look
Well,
at the
the problem
chart.
is nobody puts money into Bitcoin in scary times. Like when the markets and the banks and everything starts crashing, I don't think you're going to see Bitcoin going up. Bitcoin, everybody says they have diamond hands, and they're just a bunch of wimps. They pull their money out the first time they get scared.
Yep.
The only one who doesn't is the guy from MicroStrategy.
Yeah, because he has a strong conviction, as I do. I don't want to lose my Bitcoin money that I do have, but I'm not pulling it out. So if it goes to zero, it goes to zero. I've already made that notion in my mind. I don't think it'll go to zero. I think the only way it can go to zero, nothing's impossible, that, is if the governments outright somehow decide to outright outlaw it, squash it somehow. Then that's possible, right? Like if they totally, fucking outlaw it.
I think that is obviously Bitcoin's largest risk.
Yeah,
that's the largest risk.
The governmental.
Because we talked about Tesla, right?
Yeah.
And now we talked about Bitcoin. What do they have in common? Well, they were both first, right? They were both first, kind of, sort of. I mean, you can argue there were electric cars before Tesla, but Tesla really is what people think of now, and they think of Bitcoin when they think of crypto, and so there's always probably going to be a market for those companies. Now, how much of a market? Who knows? That's going to be what's determined. Sometimes the first guy doesn't always end up being the most successful.
Absolutely, because sometimes the competitors, the other entry the makers have some hindsight to an extent in terms of what works, what doesn't work.
They don't have to. They don't have to make right. They don't have to make the same mistakes. And the technology, and let's face it, the technology over the last 3 years has probably gotten far better than it was 5 years ago. So,
as a whole, absolutely. And you can argue that and they are to an extent, I believe. You could argue what extent, I don't know, but competitors have made and are starting to make, stride, if you will, on Tesla, for example.
What a lot of the 800-pound gorillas did. I remember going up to a trade show and talking to them, and these companies, these are some of the largest lighting companies in the United States. They knew nothing about LED technology. And one of the women who was like the vice president of product development or whatever, right? Hello, product development. She said to me, she goes, well, what we do is we let all you small companies, perfect the technology.
I know what you're going to say.
Waste all the money. And then we jump in. Then we jump. Yeah, they do that. But then they jump in and they take the market share.
Exactly. Yeah, they let you blood, sweat, and equity on the R&D and the development, and they take the market share in various ways. One simple way is just buy you out. Even a company your size, if they threw 10, 20, 30 million at you, that's enough to buy you out and put you on the beach if you want. But to them, to their coffers, 20 million that could possibly generate hundreds of millions, if not billions, to them, it's more than a return on their investment. And they didn't spend any effort developing it. Now they're just going to market it. That's all they're essentially going to do. They might tweak it here and there, but to your point, that's what they do. They let the entrepreneurs, the blood, sweat, and equity is what they do.
Well, here's the other thing is, especially in the last 30 years, in the United States and probably the world, nobody cares about made in the USA anymore or made in, wherever. They just care. So people are just as likely to buy a Kia as a Tesla as a Ford. All they care about is does the product do what they need, and is it cost effective?
And is it right? And is it at the price that I want to pay?
And is it reliable?
They don't reliable, good product. They don't give a shit who makes it. They don't care what country. None of that exists anymore.
It's the same thing with Bitcoin, how everybody said they're diamond hands. It will be very interesting if Tesla goes back to $25. Still the same car, still the same company, but we'll see how many people are happy about Tesla when it's at $25.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to go there, but it could.
Well, I'm saying, it very well could. Very well could.
No. I'm not debating. Yeah.
And the other thing to keep in mind is what could be happening right now, Dan. Tesla could be, and this is a bellwether, and this is one reason I'm bringing this up. Tesla could be a bellwether for all of these companies in the stock market, like Apple. First time ever, Apple's iPhone sales are down. They had 40% reduction last quarter in computer sales.
Wow.
So Apple is still Apple, but if people are starting to say, hey, you know what? I don't need $1,000 cell phone, or I can go with a Google Chrome for $300 instead of a MacBook for $1,200.
Absolutely. Well, and as times continue to get tough and stuff, and we go into deep ass recession, or God forbid worse, whatever, to your point, people are going to drive their cars longer. They're going to fix their car if they have to. They're not going to go out and spend, umpteen dollars on some effing Tesla. They're going to keep their phone longer. Okay, so it's not cool and nouveau, but that's what they're going to do, right? Because if it means buying food, which you have to do regardless of the price unless you grow it, and keeping rent over your head, it's real fucking simple. You don't have to be a PhD scholar in economics to understand that shit, right? Real simple.
Yeah, and I mean, the people, we talk about money rotation, where the money's going to go. The people who are smart, real smart money, they ride it up and they ride it down. They've already made these decisions that we're just talking about. They've already decided, hey man, Tesla, you were wonderful. Now we're going to ride you down. Apple, you were awesome for 10 years. Now we're going to ride you down.
Now I'm going to short your ass to hell.
This is what they do.
100%. They don't care which way it goes.
Well, they're right.
Because
They
why you
make the right
yeah.
decision at the right time.
Well, and that's why, for example, smart people years ago figured out how to short, right? How to make money when the stock price goes down, because they figured out through observation, right? To your point, price moves in three directions: up, down, and sideways. And they have the ability, and you and I are getting better at it, but I know I'm not quite there, to make money regardless of the direction, right?
Well, let me ask you, how often do you really short?
To go back here, there was a total of 41 trades, and I had 5 losses out of 41. So 36, whatever 36 out of 41 is.
Yeah,
pretty
that's
high.
excellent.
That's 80. That's 88%.
Yeah, the pros don't even hit that, dude.
Yeah.
Unless you're
So,
JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs.
right. So you see it on the screen. I'm not bullshitting you. This is real shit. You see it. I didn't make this shit up, right? So
yeah, I've been telling you what have I been telling you for months? Is forget Lawn Boy and start.
I know. You're right. I'm not that bad at this. Okay, I'm okay. So anyway,
no, you're very good, and your charting is usually pretty spot on.
Yeah. So here's the number of shorts I had over the month of March.
And once you perfect shorting, I mean, you'll have all the tools, man.
Yeah, I'm not very good at shorting. So anyway, go
ahead.
And
then once you start getting like different strategies for options.
Oh yeah, like, absolutely.
Strangle and straddle.
Yep. No, you're right, man. You're right. So anyway, so I shorted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shorts, 6, 7, 8 shorts. This short here, I shorted AG, made $134, or 168% I made on this. $79 I entered, and I exited at 213. That's fantastic, right? 168%.
Especially, is it the same day?
No, it wasn't the same day. No.
Oh.
No, it was over probably. I held this for, if you see the column here, see that February 10th is when I bought it.
Oh, yeah. Wow, it's tiny.
I got rid of it on.
Well, that would be an additional column. You might want to put how many days.
I lost.
Well, the good thing about this chart is you realize you start to see which stocks you're good at trading and which stocks you're not.
Right.
And number two, not only that, it also will tell you, are you an uptrend trader? And that's what I mean is
100%. Am I long versus short?
And not only, but I mean, NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA right now has been in an uptrend, but maybe next month they'll be in a downtrend.
Exactly.
And if people keep trading it, like you've been saying this for forever, is identify what market you're in, because otherwise you're swimming against the current.
Potentially.
So if NVIDIA is going up, you don't want to be shorting the sucker.
Yeah. No.
Same thing, and that's the beauty of identifying, like we talked about at the beginning, where are the flows going? Yeah,
totally. So just real quick, and I'll get off the screen. See this Tesla short here? I made a whopping $13.27.
But I said, I'm always happy that it's in green.
But look at the gain loss though. I made 9.5% on my money. I mean, I know it's little, but that's how you get better. You start small. I still made 9.5%. That's fantastic.
Well, what it means, Dan, is once you actually get confidence in yourself, and you actually go with 200 contracts.
Exactly.
Now you're talking $15,000.
Well, see the number 2 there for contracts?
Yeah.
See it? Watch this. If I did 200 contracts, I would have made $1,300. So it's a matter of scaling these numbers up. It's a matter of having more confidence in myself, to your point. Right?
Well, it also not just confidence in, see, this is what happens. This is the advantage of letting things play out over time. Yeah. Like if you're day trading, it's very, very difficult to layer in or layer out. It's much harder. And so, you can always have a starting position and then add to it.
This was a big trade. See the win I had, $988. See it?
Yeah, it's a good trade.
Yeah, but guess what? It was only one contract. Imagine if it was 10.
Well, how much did you risk?
Well, I'll tell you. My cost basis was right here, $884 right here.
Well, you see, that's the other thing, is knowing where. everybody has their comfort zone.
Right.
And if
Right.
somebody's comfort zone is, $1,000 or less per trade,
Right.
then if they go in like 10 grand,
Yeah.
they might not be sleeping at night.
100%. Was I should have layered into it and at least maybe layered in 3 contracts or maybe 4.
Well, I can tell you my rule of thumb.
You know what I mean? But I didn't.
Well, and this is one reason, this is one disadvantage of having a $900 contract is I like to buy at least 2 contracts.
Yeah, you
I
told me.
like to buy an even, because then when I'm up, I can sell one.
Right.
And then I have no pressure on letting the other one run.
Absolutely. And there's a lot to be said about that technique. Yeah.
I've learned this the hard way. And one of the best lessons, one of the best rules you can follow is sell half your position when you double your money. I know nobody likes to think that they're going to be wrong and that it's going to continue running, but it's just one of these rules you have to have. You just say, this is not negotiable. 50%, I double my money, we take half off the table.
You're smart. Dude, that's what the pros do. And that way you've insured, at the very least, if it goes to 0, you've lost nothing. You're playing with the house money at that point, right?
And that's a lesson I had to learn the hard way. And that's what I heard all these videos when I started, right? Oh, don't lose money. It's about risk management. But let's face it, most of us, when we're new traders, we're like, all right, we're going to make the big bucks. We're always, we're going to be right.